last time we started this shunting job here at the steel mill, and where we ended it was there's a bunch of cars here from track A4 that we are currently pulling out because we need the car at the very rear of those cars that were here. So that's where we're at. What we're doing is we're going to pull forward here past this switch, then we're going to start pushing backwards onto this track on our left. We're going to drop that one car there, which was, I believe it was CFF284. We're going to drop that car off. Then we're going to take the rest of those cars that were on track 4. We're going to put them back in place. And then we can grab the car we need. And with that, we will have all the cars we need to actually load this up and drop it off over in the B yard. So that's what we're doing today. Alright, so it's a little dark. I really feel like I need to make a better habit of sleeping through the night here in Derail Valley and playing during the day, but I think I cleared that switch over there, so we're going to stop the train here, set this thing in reverse, and we're going to start pushing backwards. We don't need to push very far, we just need to push far enough so that the one car we care about is clear of the switch, and we can go uncouple it, and then we can clear the switch again with the rest of the train in the opposite direction. Alright, I think that's about good, so we're going to bring this thing to a halt. And now I need to run down there to the far end of the train and uncouple that last car. Alright, handbrake applied. See, I remember it this time. And 295, sorry, I said 294 before I think, but CFF 295, that's our car. We are unhooking the air hose and uncoupling the coupler. So this car is ready to be left here, and I'm going to run back over to the engine. Alright, so we're going to release the brake, and now we can pull everything except that one car forward again, just until we get clear of that switch, and then we'll push everything back where we found it. That should be about good, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're just about clear of that switch. That looks good. Okay. Switch flipped. And we are going to bring this thing to a halt. And then we're going to flip the reverser in reverse. And push on backwards. So everything up to and including the gondola there is going to, or is it a hopper? I don't know what the difference is between a hopper and gondola. Whichever one it is, tell me in the comments, I guess. Whichever one it is, yeah, that car with the green paint and everything behind it needs to stay on track 4. So we're going to drop those off right up there, and then we can reattach that car we just left behind. And I'm going to start applying a little bit of brake here because we are just about there. I just want to make sure I definitely push this far enough back that it's clear of the switch, right? So that if I ever need to get back into track 3 for another job or whatever, I don't want to be blocking that. So a good rule of thumb I find is to make sure that those signs are usually in a good position where, assuming everything is at or past the sign, then you're not blocking any of the switches. That's kind of what I use as my indicator of whether I've gone far enough. So this is good. We're setting the handbrake, we're releasing the air hose, and uncoupling the coupler. All right. So now we're back to just having these two flatbeds attached. And now we can move back out and grab that third flatbed that's over there on the track. And the sun is rising over the Derail Valley, which is super exciting. You know, just in time for us to be done with our complicated switching maneuvers is great timing, great timing. But, you know, really that's on me. I could have slept on the couch in the station building, and I just didn't. I just didn't think, you know, I'm just excited to get going to the next job. But maybe in the future, I should try to make an effort out of actually sleeping a little bit so that we do most of this work in the daytime. I think that would probably be a wise idea. We'll see if I remember to do that. But for now, we're past this switch again. So take this thing down to a stop and reverse here, just so we can pick up that one flatbed car that's sitting over there right behind the turn. All right, I think that's good. So we should be able to just run on over here real quick. And let's see. I think, gosh, okay. I stopped just a little bit too soon. It was so close, but nope. We need to give this a little bit more. I think that's probably about good. There wasn't that much. There wasn't that much of a gap, so I think we've probably closed it now. Let's see. Okay, that looks a lot better. There we go. So coupler is on, air hose is connected, handbrake is off. So now we finally have all 3 cars that we need for this job. The next piece is to go to track 7 and get these loaded up. Track 7, of course, is right over here to our left, so we just need to pull forward a little bit and pass the switch into track 7, which is right over there, and then we can back this thing up into that track. So that'll take us just a moment, and after we've done that, we're going to B4, not before, after we're going to B4, okay? Yeah, that's how that works. So, and as you might recall, we already set all the switches to get into B4 last time we were over in the B yard, so that part should be all good. It should be nice and easy from here on. Alright, so this is our switch to get into track A7. So as soon as we are clear of this, we want to stop and flip that switch and back it up. Let's see here. That looks good. Okay, so we're going to stop this here. and set it in reverse and head on into track A7. And a couple of episodes ago at this point, we did the other shunting job here where we were unloading some stuff at track 7. This time we're loading, and like I showed you back then, the only difference is that at that loading console, that there's a lever there which we can flip to the right or the left. One of those sides is load, the other one is unload. So sure enough, the only thing we're doing is we're running over there, and this time we're flipping that switch in the opposite direction, and that will, you know, magically load up our train with I believe it's iron or steel beams that we're putting on this. So anyway, we'll just run back over there. We just need to get to that little console, and then we will be good. Alright, we're starting to come to a place where I feel comfortable with slowing down and almost bringing this to stop at this point. I think, in fact, this is good. So we're just gonna give that some air, run over here, and just like I said, we just need to flip this switch in the correct direction. So the right is load. So there we go, steel rails. All right, we now have 3 cars full of fresh steel rails. Now we're going over to B4. So I can definitely feel that we're accelerating slower. That probably doesn't come as a surprise because it turns out that steel rails are in fact heavier than nothing. So we've added mass to our train, and of course that means that force equals mass times acceleration, right? So in other words, if we're giving the same amount of force but the mass is higher, then the acceleration must be lower. See, I told you physics class would be helpful one day. All right, that is enough acceleration. I don't want to go too fast here because we're not going that much further before we make it down to that switch there. And although our mass makes it harder to accelerate, it also makes it harder to decelerate. In fact, I remember my physics teacher once saying there's no such thing as deceleration in physics. There's only acceleration with a negative direction. So here we are, accelerating in the opposite direction using our brakes. All right, so we're past that switch. We flipped it. We're gonna put this thing in reverse. And as always, we're gonna remember this piece of track here is in fact on a little bit of an incline, so we're going to be accelerating uphill right here, which is a little rough. Yeah, we can see there that the motor, a little bit of wheel slip. The motor is definitely struggling a little bit with pushing this load up the hill here, but we'll get there. We're making progress. So all those switches over there should be set correctly to get us to track B4. And at this point, all I gotta do is shove this backwards for a couple of moments and we will be there. we're going to take that down to a coast because I'm noticing, maybe I noticed it earlier, I don't remember, but on track B4 there are already some other cars as well. Oh yeah, I remember now. They were there before. Either way, on track B4 there are already some other cars, so we want to make sure that we don't overshoot this and crash into those cars. It's a lot easier, you know, if you're just bringing the train to a stop on an empty track, you can kind of just take it pretty chill as far as where exactly on the track you stop, right? The track is pretty long. You got a lot of room to work with, but when there's other stuff on the track, we really want to make sure that we're stopping at a reasonable position. So this feels good. I'm past that B4 sign, and like I said earlier, I use that sign as a good indicator of making sure that I'm clear of the switches. So this feels good. I'm shutting everything down, just like normal. And we're going to set the handbrake here and uncouple from our engine. And that is this job finally done. It took a little while, but we got here. There was a couple of complicated switching operations with those cars earlier, so it was a little bit interesting. But here we are at the station building, done with this job. Completed in good time. So that's wonderful. Alright, sorry, I was just flipping through that to look at the details. We got paid. There's some new jobs available now, so we will see about that next time. I will see you then.